So I majored in sociology. I selected the major. I was originally a business major. Really wasn't being challenged by the coursework. Really wasn't excited about it. I had taken two sociology classes in my first year, and decided that I really liked those courses. Did the coursework, enjoyed it. It gave me a passion. It gave me a drive. So that's kind of how I moved into sociology. So I'm currently a recruiting manager for the programs in the College of Business at the University of Louisville. Basically, what I do is I work with candidates for our graduate programs. So I talk to them about what our programs offer, walk them through the admissions process, do a lot of networking, a lot of getting to know people, kind of helping them understand kind of like what it takes to be in our programs and answering their questions. So there's a lot of reach out, there's networking events, there's college fairs that I do and kind of help guide the students along the path of making sure that they're going to be admitted into the College of Business graduate programs. So I got in this field by a lot of the things I did in undergrad. I was very involved. I was a resident assistant. I was a supplement instruction leader. I was student orientation leader. I did work with the dean of students. So it was a lot of just having the positions in undergrad, and then learning that this was an actual career path, and then kind of moving along with it and just being like, this is kind of what I want to do. Typical day, it's making calls, it's setting up events, maybe going to talk to undergrad courses, going in the classroom, getting to meet students, hosting info sessions. Same thing for the typical week is like hosting info sessions, um, and then college fairs if we have them, which are now more so career fairs and things like that. So that's a lot of what my days and week entail. The most satisfying aspects of my job is helping people get to that next step, especially in admissions and recruitment. It's a lot of helping people understand that there is something that they can do out there, and there is a next step, and getting them there and helping them achieve that. Um, Making somebody's day with being able to tell them that they're admitted. That's always a great time. So um, that's kind of how what keeps me going in this work and in this field, is helping people to achieve their goals and get to their next step, whatever that may be. If that's getting a master's, if that's maybe finding a different position that's going to be good for them, whether they want to get their CPA, being able to do that for them really drives me. It's going to be interesting, especially after COVID. There's probably going to be some big changes to entrance exams. I think that's going to be a big shift that we're going to see. I think there's also going to be a shift in the way we do things in terms of college fairs. Not that we know what we can do. Um, there also may be a shift in how we decide to operate. A lot of admissions and recruitment work is actually going more to a regional model. So people who are going to be working remotely and recruiting for different institutions across the country. So I think that's going to be a big thing. It's going to be driven now, especially just with the changing environment of higher education and kind of where everything is going. I think that's going to be a big shift. Some traits I think are going to be helpful. Definitely somebody who's good with people, somebody that likes working with people. I mean, that's kind of necessary for the field. That's what you do all day and every day. Especially in recruitment and admissions, it's one of those where it's a lot about relationship building and connections. I would also say somebody who works well under stress and high pressure. I mean, recruitment and admissions I mean, it's a fast paced world. So it's one of those where you're going to be able to manage things. Um, Somebody who kind of goes with the flow because things do shift at times. So being kind of steady and even keel helps out with that as well. Um, and then somebody who's just with details and organized. I think that also helps out with just maintaining everything that you do and all the files and everything like that. So people usually learn about job openings. We have a website called Higher Ed Jobs. That's how a lot of people learn. We also have placement exchanges where people go and interview. So we have different ones throughout our field. Um, we also, I mean, a lot of people do it through networking and connections. So I mean, whether that be through Facebook or LinkedIn. There are groups that always are posting jobs for people. You can also just go onto university websites and look at the HR department to help find jobs. But yeah, that's basically how a lot of it is either higher ed jobs or through networking connections or a placement exchange. Just how vast and different each role is. Um, I think I went into it knowing what a few of them do, but not all of them, and kind of just how far it can stretch. Just because I didn't even think about even doing recruitment and admissions. I was stuck on housing um, and then orientation. So it was one of those where I didn't even think about all the roles that I could do. Try and find the path that's going to be best for you. I think a lot of people in the field think you have to go through certain paths to get where you want. But I think there's a lot of paths that can get you to almost anywhere in the field. So some people might say, like, you have to do a stint in housing. But housing's not for everybody. So it's one of those where I think you can still get to an upper level position without that on your resume. It's just going to take you kind of navigating it. So, I mean, you can get anywhere you want with anything and get some transferable skills from any job. It just depends on how you go about navigating and doing that for yourself. Persevere through the tough times. I know undergrad at times can be rough. I have been there, have done it. Just stick with it, even when the pressure's high. Also, get out and just take some time for yourself and to get away from all the stress.